Hello, welcome to the Smalls Talk podcast where I am your host, Tiffany, joined by my husband and co-host,
Brandon,
and we are the Smalls.
Join us each episode for a small talk about marriage, family, fitness, and life.
Well, we're going to get started today with the Smalls world. I'm going to let B kick it off first.
The Smalls world. So we live down here in sunny South Carolina.
Sunny.
Most days. And we got a snowstorm over the past weekend. They called for a snowstorm the previous weekend. We got ice, lost power, heavy winds, but literally by 2-3 o'clock Sunday, it looked like nothing happened. Well, except for a couple trees down, neighbor's fence fell down and all that. But then on Friday, this past Friday, we actually had a snowstorm. Probably got 2-3 inches on the ground.
I don't know.
It was something like that around here.
Hey.
Which is very rare. I think the weather people said this was the first measurable snow since 2014. So with that, this was Brandy's first snow. At 6 years old, this is the first time she's ever seen snow in person. So she was very excited to see the snow.
Very.
Wanted to go out there. We took them out there Friday night in the middle, 10, 11 o'clock at night, whatever it was. We're the only people outside playing in the snow. A little while later, we heard the neighbor's kids come out, and some of my other neighbors said they heard some other kids outside playing in it. But we were the first to go out there and actually play in it, which, she was excited. Saturday morning, she woke Tiffany up so they can go back outside and play again in the snow before it melted. It melted pretty quickly once it started.
Yeah.
But it's funny. That was Brandy's first experience with snow. Taylor's first experience with snow came back in 2014, the last measurable snow that we had here in South Carolina. And she was the complete opposite. I took her outside, and I need to find that picture and repost it so people can see it. I took her outside, and she did not move from that spot. She's like, nope.
She wasn't having it.
I'm standing right here. I don't know what this white stuff is on the ground, but I'm not having no parts of it. And we were actually on the way to, I think Tiffany had to work, so we were on the way to go see Tiffany at her job. So, I hurried up and got her in the car and took her on to Tiffany's job and came back home. I'm fine with it because I don't really care for snow like that.
You don't.
Yeah. It's dumb.
It's not.
It's pretty. It looks nice on TV, especially down here in the South. People don't know how to drive in it. We don't have, it's not like up north where you have snow plows and all that kind of stuff where they clear the road pretty quickly. We don't have snow tires. I don't even think they would sell that down here just because we don't get snow that often. So it's dumb. Keep it up north where it's supposed to be. Give me sunshine. Give me sunshine and rainbows every day.
You're a hater.
What about you?
Well, my Smalls world. First of all, I'd like to thank Taylor teacher. Lately she wasn't feeling it. She was quarantined. Oh, I don't know when that was.
Back in
October for like 10 days from school. Because she had COVID, but she was fine. And then when she went back to school, she wasn't feeling it. She was a straight A-B student, probably had like 3 A's, 1 B. Went back to school, wasn't feeling it, right? So we talked to her, she started doing good. Then came again, she was quarantined again right before MLK Day. Mm-hmm. And went back to school, still wasn't feeling it. Wasn't participating, whatever. I'm like, really? I'm like, is she serious? So we had a meeting with her teacher. This is the funny part, y'all. We had a meeting with her teacher. So the teacher emailed us. She said, well, can y'all meet tomorrow at 1? Or can y'all meet sometime in February? I was like, nah, we going tomorrow. So me and Brandon went up there. So Taylor thought she was getting a treat. She was like, what's my treat going to be? We was like, you'll see tomorrow. So we got to the school. She wasn't in class. She was in related arts. So we got to school. We had a meeting with the teacher. It went very well. So I commend her for letting us know, that she saw a change in Taylor. So I thank her so much. And then we got home, chilled out. I went and got the girls from school. So on the way back home, I was like, Taylor, how was school today? She was like, good. I was like, did you participate? She was like, little. Where's this coming from, Mom? Where's all these questions? I asked Brandy the same questions. Brandy was like, school was great. I was like, okay. So then we got home, and I was like, Brandon, I don't know if I asked Brandon, did he tell her, or he asked me? And he was like, no, I wasn't going to tell her nothing. And she was like, what? Tell me what? What's my surprise? What's my surprise? So you said...
Your surprise is we had a meeting with your teacher today.
And you said we pulled up at your school,
Mm-hmm.
right, y'all? And I said, yeah, you need to put some respect on our name because you're not doing right. And when a child don't do right, I'm a firm believer, you know, your toys and all that good stuff, you don't need them. You don't, why? If you can't produce good grades and stuff, and her grades, she's still doing good. They dropped. So now we have to get her to get her grades back up. But yeah, it's different. You know, you have two kids. Like I say earlier in one of my videos, they're different. I'm just trying to find the in-between, like how to manage both kids and, you know, work with their personality. So yeah, it doesn't come with a manual, people. It doesn't come with a manual.
Because Taylor has the ability to be a straight A student.
She does.
She has that ability. She can do the work.
She's a little lazy sometimes, I think.
But it's getting her to stop being lazy. It's getting her. I don't mind her being shy. Yeah. I don't mind her being quiet because I was quiet.
She's very shy.
And I still am quiet. But what I'm not going to do is if I don't understand something.
True.
I'm not going to just let the teacher skip over it or whoever's presenting the information. You know, whoa, you need to rewind that because I don't get it. So help me understand what it is that you're trying to teach right now. Mm-hmm. And that's all we're trying to get Taylor to realize, you know. And also when you're in school, because the teacher gave us an example, a lot of times the students, it might be a question that multiple students have, mm-hmm. or multiple people don't know something, and that one person asking the question will end up, oh yeah, I didn't know that either. The example she gave, she was talking about Dr. Martin Luther King and the bus boycotts, mm-hmm. and she was talking about how they were carpooling. We know what carpooling is, but you know, this younger generation had no idea of what carpooling was. So the teacher stopped and said, does anybody in the class know what carpooling is? Nobody knew what a carpool was. And so she had to stop and explain it to them. And so, you know, once she explained it, everybody was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But had she not stopped, you know, they would have just skipped right over that part. And wouldn't, you know, nobody would know. And so that's what I've tried to tell Taylor as well, is that, you know, 90% of the time, if you have a question about something, there's at least one other student in that class that has that same question.
That's true.
And so by you asking the question, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping somebody else or multiple people in that class. So.
But now I think she's on the straight and narrow because, you know, we took those toys, swiped them, swipe. And she was like, I got a 90 on my test, Mom, on my quiz. I was like, yeah.
She hadn't bought anything since we talked. She hadn't bought anything less than a 90 home.
And I'm learning too, just talking to my best friend, you know, her kids are older, and just having a conversation with other people who have kids, not everybody, you know, but just the people that I know that I trust, right? To know that sometimes you have to have that conversation with your kids and ask them, you know, what's wrong. I mean, the teacher can tell you that what they see, right? But as a parent, you still need to have that one-on-one conversation with them and ask them, you know, what's going on? What's going on in school? You know, is anybody picking on you? You know, how do you feel about school? Just certain questions to try to bond with your child more, because I love the teacher. Nothing wrong with that. I believe the teacher as well, but I still need to get to the root cause of why my child was acting like this. She never really said. I don't know if she was just tired, so forth and so on, but hopefully we got her back on track. So we'll give y'all an update how she's doing. We'll give
see.
You an update.
We're in the third now week, so we'll see what those report cards look like in about 8 weeks.
Yeah. But by the way, our baby girl we got some paperwork back from her that they did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they did at the beginning of the year, but they just gave us the information.
Weird.
And like she was at the top of all the categories. And the teacher sent the email with the grades, because I don't think they start grading them until they get to either first or second grade. They get meets, progressing towards meets, or like does not meet or something to that nature. And so the teacher explained if you get a progressing a P, progressing towards meets, that means your child is doing fine. They're just learning it. She was like, so basically anything less than 100 gets a P. Meets is you got 100 across the board on all the testing that they do. Brandy got a meets across the board on every single thing. So
my baby's smart.
I'm hopefully it doesn't come to this, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they came to us and said, you know what, Brandy might need to skip a grade. No, Brandy ain't skipping no grades.
Yeah.
No, she's right where she's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, now that y'all heard about our Smalls world, hey, that was going on in the Smalls household. So what you got going on, Brandon? What's the topic for today?
The topic for today is our proposal.
Okay. So we're going to let y'all in on a part of the Smalls, right? Well, I was a green, then I became a small. So let's put it that way. So we're going to let y'all in from the beginning. We're going to give y'all a little piece of us. I know we were giving y'all bits and pieces of, the 5 love languages and things of that nature. But we're going to give you how it started, in between, how before we got married. So I'm going to let Brandon give a spill, and I'm going to tell y'all how the proposal went down. So, yeah.
So before the actual proposal happened, we got to go back a little bit before that. So purchased a home October 2008, and once I got the home, I was always taught when I was younger, it was like, have a job, have a car, have a place to stay. So I already had a job, had a car, and I wanted to have Tiffany in a house. The apartment was fine. Nothing was wrong with the apartment. But, just for me, kind of an ego thing. I saw some of my friends getting houses, and I was like, well, if they can get a house, I definitely can get a house. So got the house, like I said, end of October 2008, and said, you know what? It's time. So I actually, Tiffany, I don't think Tiffany even knows this. I actually applied for a credit card because I was like, you know what? I can get the ring on the credit card and then I could pay it off tax time, because they had, back in 2008 and 2009, they had first-time home buyer programs. First-time home buyer tax rebates where you were getting between $7,500 and $8,000, depending on when you applied and which program you qualified for. So I was like, I know I'm going to get the money back at tax time. I can make the minimum payment until February, March, whenever I get my refund back. So I applied, and the card I didn't get approved for nearly enough to buy a ring. So I was like, well, we're gonna have to wait till tax time. And so Thanksgiving came around, and we actually went to Atlanta to her family's house for Thanksgiving. And it's funny, I met one of her cousins who worked at a pawn shop there in Atlanta. And me, the older cousin, his son, and then her dad, we're all sitting there playing spades, drinking Crown, just having a good time. How we do when we get together and have food and fellowship and all that. So,
fellowship, that's what you call it, fellowship?
Fellowship. Because everybody might not have been partaking in the libations.
Okay.
Some people were, some people weren't.
Okay.
So we were fellowshipping.
Okay.
So cousin, I don't know how he knew because I didn't say anything, but the cousin kind of, I don't know if he pulled me to the side or if he just made eye contact with me or something like that. It's like, hey, I know what you're trying to do. Come and holler at me. I'll take care of you. Basically what he was saying was, I work at the pawn shop. I got access to all these engagement rings. Come down to Atlanta. I'll hook you up. And so initially I was like, that'd be a good idea. Go down to the pawn shop and get a ring. And then I thought about that thing. I was like, you know what? That's a ring that somebody else had on their finger, or somebody else, or from a proposal that didn't work. Whether it was a money thing, they went ahead and got married, but then needed the money and then ended up pawning the ring and never came back to get it, or somebody said no, or they just broke up. So I was like, that might not be the best idea.
That might not be it. That might
not be the best idea. So I was like, I'm just wait till February. February comes around, file my taxes, get my money, go down to the jewelry store, and I thought I was going to get caught actually, because one of Tiffany's friends was in the jewelry store the same time that I was in the jewelry store. I'll tell you off camera. They might watch this at some point.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, we haven't told them about the podcast, but you never know. It's going to blow up one day and they're going to go back and they're going to watch all our videos and they're going to be like, don't be saying my name. So yeah, one of her friends at the time saw me in the jewelry store. She didn't see what I was buying, but I thought for sure she was going to go back to work and tell Tiffany that she seen me in the jewelry store, and it was going to blow the whole surprise, but she didn't. Went in there with the budget, got what I was looking for.
Did you stick to your budget?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Good job.
Because, and what other people told me as well, is get the engagement ring and the wedding band together. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you'll get a deal, or you can get them to match. So that's what I did. Then the day of came. Well, I ended up, I got the stone switched out. I got a bigger stone put in the ring that I picked out. So I had to wait until they got the stone. They swapped out the stones and put it in or whatever. So the day of came. It was a Thursday, I believe.
I think it was.
February 18th, 2009, whatever day of the week that fell on. Y'all can look it up if y'all nosy.
They're nosy.
Yeah, if they nosy. I went and picked up the ring. Tiffany had a hair appointment that day. So I think I picked up the ring at lunchtime or whatever. I want to say we drove separate that day since you had a hair appointment.
Probably so.
So after work, she went to her hair appointment. I went and ran some errands. Now, I heard this idea from somebody. It was a while ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to steal that and kind of put my own twist on it. So went to a couple stores, grabbed my supplies that I was going to get. I went and bought about three dozen roses, some rose petals, some candles, and some Hershey's Kisses.
Did.
And so I told Tiffany, I was like, when you get home, do not come in through the garage, because at that time we had nothing in our garage. We actually were able to park our cars in the garage. So I was like, don't come in the garage. I'll put your car in the garage later.
You said ring the doorbell.
I was like, ring the doorbell. Come in the house. Come in the front door.
But remember, I said, for what? I got a key.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God.
I just need to know that she was home, because there were certain things that I needed her to do when she got in the house. So she came in the house. Well, she came to the front door. There was a dozen roses at the front door, I believe. Had rose petals on the ground. Had candles on the ground. They were, they were lit as well. And I had Hershey's Kisses. And Hershey's Kisses made a trail from the front door all the way to our bathroom. So I think the first, and I had notes on each of the roses.
I was supposed to tell my papa. Go ahead. You finish telling. Go ahead.
Had notes on each of the roses. And, before that, I called my brother Mike. Y'all was shaking like a stripper in church. I was so nervous. And Mike had already got engaged to Danny. So, he had already been through this before. So I was like,
why was you nervous?
I don't know why I was nervous, but I was nervous. I guess I was nervous about making sure I did everything right.
Oh, okay.
We had already talked about getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So I was about 95% sure that you would say yes. But still, it was like, she could say no. I don't think she will, but she could. So yeah, I was shaking like a stripper. And so yeah, Tiffany comes in, she reads the first card. First card gave her instructions to the second set of roses. I think it might have been on the bed or something like that.
But go ahead, I'm gonna let you.
Okay, well, I can't remember where the second set of roses was. I know where the third set of roses was.
It's only 2, I thought.
I can't remember now. It was so long ago.
Well, what happened was, let me tell my story since Brandon remembers, since I remember it. First of all,
that's the only thing you remember.
First of all, you had to play me, y'all see. First of all, he called me. He said, Tiffany, when you get home, ring the doorbell. I was like, why? Because I have a key. He was like, when you get home, just knock on the door. I said, but why? Because I have a key. Right? I don't know. I wasn't trying to be difficult. I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to do.
She was trying to be difficult.
So then,
like always,
he said, you just get home, just come through the front door. I said, fine, okay. So I got home, I came through the front door, and I saw the roses, the first set of roses, and I saw the candles lined up with the Hershey Kisses and the rose petals. So I read the first note. And the first note, I was like, well, I don't see Brandon. So I read the note, and the note said, go to the bedroom. Mm-hmm. So I went to the bedroom and got to the bedroom. Well, go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and it was the shower. I was watching the shower running. Brandon in here? Open the shower. It was the water running over the roses in the shower. So it was a note in there. It said, come back to the living room. I was like, what am I doing? So I went back to the living room. When I came back to the living room, he was on one knee. I was like, whoa. And so he was like, now that I've kissed the ground you walked on and shower you with roses, will you marry me? I was like, oh, okay. So I did say yes. Of course, y'all see now, we've been together since forever. Seemed like forever. But it was a unique proposal. I was shocked because I really didn't expect it. But I felt like he put some thought into it, and then he was dressed up, y'all. So he had on like I think a black suit or something. A black suit. I said, okay, he did good. Okay. And so my next question was, what was my next question?
Did you call and ask my daddy for permission?
Did you ask my daddy? Hold on. Wait one second. Go back. Did you ask my daddy first? Hold on.
So, and I actually thought about that one too. So, as soon as she asked the question, I fired right back. I did not. Only because her and her daddy is like this. And like at that time, she probably talked to her dad every day, if not 2 or 3 times a day.
Don't judge our relationship.
I'm not. I'm
just playing.
I mean, nothing wrong with that. But she talked to her daddy a lot, and her daddy can't hold water.
I'm gonna tell.
You can tell him. We told him. We told him on the phone. We told him that night he couldn't hold water. He laughed.
Well, don't. Now my dad keep a secret now.
No, he can't.
Yes, he can.
Well, see, this is what I felt would happen. If I called her dad, asked her dad for permission. Now, 9 times out of 10, I was either going to call him like the day before or like the day of, like earlier in the day, like after I got off of work. Tiffany didn't get home till
make it plain,
maybe 8 o'clock or so.
Oh yeah, 7, 8 o'clock.
7, 8 o'clock. So during that time, Tiffany probably, if she didn't call me while she was on the way home, she was going to call her dad on the way home. And her dad would have, Brandon proposed to you yet? And that would have ruined everything.
No.
Yes, it would have. Because I wanted it to be a surprise. So I did not ask her dad in advance. After the proposal,
he called my daddy after though.
I did call her dad after. You gotta
call my daddy first.
And ask for her hand in marriage to make sure, it was okay. Called me old fashioned, but I just wanted to. I mean, I knew he would say yes. They had been calling me son, other family members, brother-in-law, cousin, nephew, they had accepted me into the family already. So, I knew it wasn't going to be an issue on their end. But still wanted to make sure and go through those proper channels. I guess I'm old school like that. Because I'm definitely going to want some young man to do the same when they come for my daughters.
That's true.
You're not man enough to come and ask me, then even though more than likely I'm going to say yes unless you're just a jerk. But, you got to come through me. I done raised this girl, provided for her and did everything for her all these years. I got to make sure that, when I'm giving her in marriage, that I'm giving her to somebody who can, I'm not asking you to be me.
Yeah.
You may not be able to do all the things that I can do, but I want to make sure that you love her and take care of her like she's supposed to be taken care of.
I give you that.
So,
but it was funny, y'all, because we were going to Tennessee the very next day. I think it was, I don't know, we were supposed to go to Tennessee that Thursday. Normally we go a Thursday to a Monday or something like that, or Thursday to a Sunday. So unless it was a Wednesday that he proposed. I can't remember exactly the day.
If you know, so y'all can look it up.
And so somebody asked him when he told them, they was like, why did you wait until you got to Tennessee? So Brandon was like,
So I said, now I was pretty certain that Tiffany was going to say yes. But what happened if we got up to Tennessee? Now me and Tiffany rode together. All the couples rode together, in their own vehicles. Mm-hmm. What happens? I get up to Tennessee, get down on one knee in front of our friends. I mean, it was what? 1, 2, 3,
4 couples.
4 couples. So
one didn't show up.
Yeah, one didn't show up. So 3 other couples outside of us, right? Mm-hmm. So we got 6 other people there. We were expecting 8 people there. So 6 to 8 people there. I get down on one knee, ask Tiffany to marry me. Tiffany says no. Now, I got to sit there with 6 to 8 other people looking, probably laughing behind my back. They go in their room at night. And then the cabin that we got, now, the other couple didn't end up coming. So there was an extra bedroom available.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that until we got there. It was, 5 bedrooms. 5 bedrooms. It was a 5-bedroom cabin. Mm-hmm. So each couple had a bedroom. So now they're in their room, kikiing it up at my expense.
Not your expense.
Yeah, at my expense. I just gave them free entertainment. So I was like, nah, I'd rather. And that way, if Tiffany did say no, I didn't have to bring it up. We just go to Tennessee. We have a good time. If Tiffany said yes, we go to Tennessee. I tell all of them, and then we can celebrate.
And that was funny because I mean, not saying if that were to happen, I'm trying to figure out how would somebody feel. So you're there for 4 days. You're there for 4 days, and you got to look at this person like doggone heifer. You ain't even say yes.
Yeah,
now I
exactly.
Gotta sit in front of these people.
I got to sit in front of these people with you. With you.
Because you and me. Because you. I'm not saying we're not going to be together. But you got to sit in front of these people for 4 days. And we got to pretend. So I'm probably looking dumb like, okay, he ain't going to talk to me no more.
Nope.
And you're looking dumb. You like, this heifer done told me no in front of all these people. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, blows my mind, right? Blows my mind.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yes.
That wasn't going to happen.
Now that you all have heard about our proposal, this is what the thing that's getting me. Like I was talking to Brandon earlier, we had this conversation. I was like, when you get into a relationship, or you're dating someone, are there questions about, what you want in a relationship? Do you want to get married? Do you want kids? How do you think lay out your proposal? Because I know that me and Brandon we never talked about a proposal,
right? But
we talked about, if we wanted kids, how many kids, somewhat our future a little bit, what we wanted. Like, everybody want the white picket fence, whatever. But we had those conversations about family, things of that nature. But now that I'm realizing, like Steve Harvey said it one time before, I think it's one of his books he wrote or whatever, but he was saying before that a lot of individuals, when you get in these relationships, you don't talk about that stuff. Because some of the people are so afraid.
Right.
That if I talk about them, would I push them away? I'm not saying go on a date, the first date, and give this guy or this female your whole life story.
Right.
I'm saying when you get to know them, the more you get to know them, then that should be a conversation that you have. Because you may not want kids, and I may want kids. And so if I don't find out until we're married or until we've been dating for 2 years, I just wasted my 2 years because I know that if I don't have kids, that's a deal breaker for me, right? So I think these conversations need to be had. You need to have them.
They do, because you want to talk about what your goals are.
True.
Because everybody has goals in life, whether it's goals with you or goals with somebody else. You know, you have those goals of, you know, one day getting married, if that's your goal, one day starting a family, of traveling, of all these different things that you see in your life in the next 10, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. So, I do feel that that's a conversation that has to be had. And don't think that you can change that person.
That's true.
If you're talking to somebody and they say that they don't want to get married, if their goal is not to get married and your goal is to get married
in that relationship,
you need to really think about, am I okay never being married to this person? I love this person. I feel like, this is the one for me, but am I okay with not being married? Just being a baby mama, girlfriend, my significant other. Are you okay with that title? Because some people are built on titles. I'm not a big title person, but at the end of the day, if I done gave Brandon all these years and we gonna be married. And that's one conversation we had. Right. My goal is not just to date you. My goal is to eventually get married. I want a husband, right? I'm not forcing you anything because you don't want it. I'm just gonna move on to the next person. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I will probably forever love you, but I just need to know, if I can move on. And it's funny because I know, I'm not calling names, but I know 2 couples, right? One couple got married and they said that they wanted to have kids. Come to find out, I guess before they got married, I guess they wanted to have kids. And after they got married, one of them didn't. Mm-hmm. So that was a deal breaker. So they ended up getting divorced. But then I was talking to someone else and we had this long conversation not too long ago, just talking about life and living. And it was like, yeah, one of my friends went through something like that. I said, what do you mean? She was like, well, they were both in the military and they didn't want kids at all. He didn't want kids. She didn't want kids at all. They agreed. They were traveling, living their best life. But then she went to the doctor and the doctor said she had to have a hysterectomy. So I give you 2 years to have kids. 2 years. So then she started contemplating. And I remember my best friend telling me one day, she said, it's a difference between not wanting kids and a difference when you can't have kids. Right. It's a big difference. I haven't experienced that, thank God, right? Because I have 2 girls. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It got to be a difference because it's taken away from you. That's like right now we're home for the pandemic. But if you can be home all day, but as soon as you find you got COVID-19 and you got to sit in that house and quarantine yourself, you better lose your everlasting mind. Some people tell me it's depressing and so forth and so on, right? So it's almost like the same thing when something is taken away from you versus you making a decision yourself that I can't do this. So anyway, she had 2 kids. She had 2 years. Year 1, year 2, they had 2 kids back to back. After they had the kids, he came to her and he said, you okay? You happy? And she was like, yeah, I'm happy, with everything, I guess the marriage, the kids. He was like, you sure you happy? He's like, well, I'm glad you're happy. Don't you know that this fool divorced her? He divorced the lady. He said, I never wanted kids. But in my mind, I'm thinking if you didn't want them, even when she wanted them when she was sick, you should have told her that I really don't want kids. But instead, you gave her not 1, but 2 kids. And you actually left her. And then went and married another woman who didn't have kids. But you still got 2 kids. It doesn't take away the fact that you got kids.
So that just blew my mind. And my thing is, if you have these conversations before, in which they did. Now they did, but I guess she felt like her womanhood was being taken away. And it's like, I know I didn't want kids, but now I definitely can never have kids, right? And what if they didn't make it? But what if, they would have got a divorce before she had kids? That she would have never had kids. So I guess her mindset.
And I think part of that too. Was it really that she didn't want kids? or was it that she agreed that she didn't want kids because he didn't want kids?
Well, I was told they both agreed, but she could have
Yeah,
changed her mind.
which I mean that's like, I don't know. Just using an example, if I want to live on a certain side of town, you want to live on another side of town.
Okay.
But I compromise and say, well, we're gonna live on this side of town. Still doesn't take away the fact that I want to live on that side of town, but to make you happy, we'll stay over here.
But my thing is with that, is the happiness worth it? Because you find out a lot of people will compromise, but pull it back later. It's like, okay, now my mind has changed. But my thing is, if that's the case, you wasted so much time.
Right.
You wasted. So if I'm dating someone and I know that, okay, this person, for example, don't want kids, or I know this person never want to get married, and you tell me this, for example, at the beginning of a relationship, and that's a deal breaker for me, I'm out the door. But if I never ask you, and then I'm waiting, like, okay, well, we've been dating for a year and a half. I wonder if he's going to pop the question. All my friends getting married. Is he going to pop the question? And I asked you, what's up with marriage? And you tell me, okay, I don't want to be married. I'm fine where I'm at.
Right.
I wasted a year and a half, 2 years, when I could have not wasted that long if we would have had that conversation at the beginning.
You're right.
And so at the end of the day, it's like, I think it's getting to the point that you must, when you want to date someone or whatever, you have to be open-minded and just know that at the end of the day, if the person leaves, then that person is not for you.
Right.
Been there, done that. If the person leaves, that person is truly not for you, because if this person wants you, you all will come to a conclusion together, right? And I remember an old couple in the book of Guinness, the Guinness Book of Records, whatever. And they said a quote I would never forget: "You can bend, but don't break." So it's nothing wrong with compromising sometimes, but don't lose yourself when you're compromising, right? And that's like me and Brandon. I would support Brandon to the end. I love Brandon. I would support him, but I'm not going to lose myself in him, because what about me? I have dreams. I have goals. I have aspirations. I have things that I want to do. Now, I'm going to support you, and I expect you to support me because we're together, right? But at the end of the day, you have to learn that you have to have your own identity.
Right.
Right? You have to have that as well.
Right. And then, like, with compromise, you're not really, both parties have to kind of give up something.
Yeah.
It's not one side just yielding to the other person's demand. I mean, in some things, you might have to. For instance, when we were talking about kids, Tiffany was like, I definitely want 2 kids. I was like, I like to have 2, possibly 3. Now, we can't have a half a kid. Just ain't possible.
Only in spades.
Yeah, you can only do a possible in spades. So it was either 2 kids or 3 kids.
So you gave up now? Gave up?
I won't say that I gave up.
You won't give up, y'all.
I still haven't given up yet.
You won't give up.
I actually said a while ago that I was going to go get a vasectomy, and I still haven't done it yet. I am content with the girls that we have.
Okay.
If I only have those 2 girls, I am happy. They are perfect just the way they are. Their little attitudes and, driving me crazy and all that comes along with having girls. I'm perfectly fine with that.
But
if I was to have another child, I'd be fine with that as well. I'm to the point now where it's like, okay, God, if it's meant to be, you will make it happen. If it ain't meant to be, you won't make it happen.
But you won't be fine. You will be fine with the healthy child, but you would truly be fine with the...
Oh, I'd be definitely fine with a boy.
Exactly. Let's just get to the point. Let's get there.
I think every man deep down inside wants a boy. And not that I can't do these things with my girls, because Taylor has expressed interest in playing basketball again, which basketball is my first love. So, this summer I'm going to start back working with her, getting her, improving her game, getting her dribbling up, taking to the park, getting shots up and things of that nature, teaching her the fundamentals, because we got 4 years since she's touched a basketball like that. Touched the basketball in a game type setting.
Yeah, because she played for 3 seasons, right?
Yeah. So I think 5. I think she was 5 the last time she played. So, getting her back out there, playing ball again, teaching her the fundamentals, and then, really just seeing what she wants to do with it. One thing that I appreciated about my dad was after practice was over, because he coached us for most of our Little League careers. After practice was over, after the game was over, he was in the, we were at the rec center. So he was like in the back room with us for the post-game speech or whatever. Once we got in the car, it was like he took the coach's hat off and he was dad. If we went in the backyard and decided we wanted to get some shots up, you go do that on your own. I'm not going to tell you to go out there and do it. I'm not even going to come out there and do it. Now, if you ask me to come out there and say, hey, Dad, can you help me with X, Y, and Z? He was right there.
It's a part of separation, I think.
But, he did a great job of separating dad from coach. He knew he knew when to exactly to be dad, and he knew exactly when to be coach. When we got to the gym, he put that coach's hat on. Matter of fact, I don't even think we were allowed to call him dad at practice.
Not supposed to.
We had to call him coach. And trust me, he was harder on us than any of the other kids on the team. He was the assistant coach. He wasn't even the head coach. He was the assistant coach. But he was harder on us. I remember one time I got in trouble. I did something I wasn't supposed to be doing. Got to practice. My dad tells the coach, make Brandon run. The coach was like, what now? No, you make Brandon run. And so I had to run almost the whole practice. But then we got back in the car to go home. You all right? You know I did that, right? Okay. He's right back in dad mode. But so that's how I would want to be with Taylor, As long as Taylor wants it, I'm only going to push as much as Taylor wants to be pushed. She keeps saying that she wants to play for USC, she wants to play for Dawn Staley because she loves the Lady Gamecocks. I'm here for it. But, I'm only going to push as much as she wants me to push her and not try to force that on her. I'm not taking away her childhood and, all she's doing is playing basketball day and night. We're not doing all that. She's going to know what it's like to go out with friends and go on vacation and stuff like all the stuff that I think a kid should be able to experience, because you're only a kid for 18 years.
It has to be a separation. You have to be able to, like you say, like when it's dad and coach, you have to be able to separate, like she's a child, but yeah, she's an athlete. You have to be able to separate some of those things as well. This was a good conversation. But only thing I want to tell you all to reiterate is that if you're dating or thinking about dating or have someone in mind, just know, like Brandon said, you can't change them. Some people want the worldly things, not the godly things, right? You have to learn how to separate. And sometimes we get so involved and our feelings get so intact because we feel like this is the one. I don't want to let them go. And sometimes when you feel like that, you compromise a whole lot.
Right. And
for the individuals that are out there that want to get engaged as well, and you have kids, sometimes you got to think about that as well. Just a little tip that when this man is marrying you, he's marrying your kids. If he can't accept your kids, then this man don't need you.
Right.
Because your kids are a part of you. So, take that to heart as well. And just have those conversations when you're dating. Just have the conversation. I did have a conversation with Brandon. It's a piggyback, and I'm gonna let y'all go. I remember asking Brandon, he thought I was crazy, y'all. But I'm good. I was good. I was like, do you have sickle cell? And he looked at me. He was like, what? And I was like, do you? Because I had said I have a trait, right? He was like, no, why you asking me that? I said, because I have a trait. And so my mama told me that whoever else have a trait, the child can come out with sickle cell. Little did we know that our baby child does have sickle cell. SS sickle cell, right? And we've been through the motions with that, but that's another podcast topic maybe. But yeah, in some questions he never knew. I never knew I had the trait. He never knew he had the trait. But my thing is, that was a question that I asked him. He was looking at me like I was crazy. 6 years ago we had Brandy. She came out with sickle cell. So sometimes you can, we didn't know, but I asked the question, So just ask the questions. Don't be afraid. Like I say, don't be afraid to ask them. Hey, you have to be you. And like this, one of my quotes is, "Be you, they'll adjust." If they want you, they'll adjust. You have to compromise as well. So what you got for the people before we end this thing?
I got nothing else for the people. Talk to your person that you're dating. Ask those questions. As difficult as they might be, as even if you don't get the answers that you necessarily want.
True.
Ask the questions, because you'd rather your heart be broken prior to an engagement, prior to a marriage, than getting into it, because then lawyers and it costs money.
Yeah.
Once you get married, it costs money to leave that person. Before you get married, it doesn't cost a dime to walk away.
That's true.
You might have signed a lease, or y'all might be on a mortgage or something together. That's a whole lot easier to split than when lawyers and stuff, judges get involved in trying to figure out child support, alimony, and who gets what assets and things of that nature.
True.
So do the work, do the hard work first.
Yeah.
And make sure that you guys are on the right page. Because divorce rate is still about 50%.
It's high.
It's very
steady
high.
Growing.
And a lot of that, some of that can be avoided. Now I know there's some other things that go on, besides just asking these questions that we're talking about. But that divorce rate can increase if we get these questions out the way. Do you want to be married? Do you want kids? Questions like that affect both of you guys' future.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brandon. Well, we're going to have a part 2, because I do have some questions. So I'm going to make some polls and put something out there on Instagram. And I want y'all to at least answer the questions, give us some ideas. And we're going to talk about that in our next episode. But I'll let you all know. I'll send it out there. And also, if you have not subscribed,
please subscribe.
It's free, y'all. Is this go on to YouTube? Doesn't cost you a dime. About 1 or 2 minutes. Probably not even that long. Go to YouTube. Click a button. Hit the notification button. That's all we asking. We're not asking for your money or anything. Just a little bit of your time. Just a little bit to support the Smalls. And as always, we hope that you all have a great day. And until we see you all the next time.